Hello again. This week's topic is Congress. You're reading chapter 9 in the book, and Congress is the focus. Congress is the legislative branch of our federal government. There are two parts to Congress. Congress is a bicameral institution. The two parts of Congress are the House of Representatives and the Senate. Representation in the House is based on population. Representation in the Senate is equal for each state. Each state gets 2 senators in the U.S. Senate. There is a difference in how the Senate and the House operate and the rules of each. I wanted to focus specifically on the Senate, but just understand that no bill can go to the president unless it passes in both the House and the Senate. So all bills have to go through both chambers and be passed in identical form before they can go to the president for his consideration. But with regard to the Senate, keep in mind that there are 435 members of the U.S. House, but only 100 senators, so the Senate can afford to spend a little bit more time on bills, and they do. The rules of the Senate allow the minority party a lot of power that they do not have in the House. Now, the majority party still controls what happens in the Senate, but the minority party has a number of things they can do, a number of tools that they have at their disposal that can allow them to stop a bill or at least to slow it down. And the one that's probably most famous or infamous, depending on one's perspective, is the filibuster. The filibuster exists only in the U.S. Senate. There is no filibuster in the House. House debates are strictly timed, and once the time limit has been reached, the representatives vote on the bill. However, in the Senate, a senator who does not like a bill, and that would typically be a senator in the minority party, that senator can filibuster the bill. And a filibuster is simply refusing to give up the floor when that senator stands up to discuss the bill. Now, the senator is not required to talk about the bill once he or she is recognized. The senator could talk about anything that he or she wants, and that's discussed in Chapter 9. But the idea is that the senator is refusing to stop discussion of the bill so that hopefully for that senator's goal, the bill will not get passed. Now, there are a couple of ways to stop a filibuster. One is through a vote of cloture. Cloture is when 3/5 of the Senate vote to stop the filibuster and move on with the debate. It takes 60 senators to invoke cloture, 60 out of 100. Again, 3/5 of the Senate. Now, with regard to cloture, cloture simply means that they're agreeing to a time limit on the debate, and that is discussed in Chapter 9. The other way to stop a filibuster is that the party that has introduced the bill could just withdraw the bill and it won't be voted on at all. In recent years, filibusters have generally been successful in stopping bills because neither party, the Democrats nor the Republicans, have had a 3/5 majority in control of the Senate, at least for the last 7 years or so. There was a brief period back in the early part of President Obama's administration when the Democrats did have 60 seats in the Senate, but since that time, neither the Democrats nor the Republicans have had 60 seats. Currently, the Republicans are the majority party in the Senate, and they have 52 or 53 seats. So that means if the Democrats want to filibuster a bill, they can do it successfully because they have enough members to prevent cloture from being invoked. There is an argument about whether filibusters are a good idea or not. The general feeling is that it's important for the minority party to have some ability to stop bills from moving forward. The Senate has always been an institution that has been the kind of the place where things slow down, and a lot of people think that's a good thing so that bills don't get rushed. On the other hand, there are many people who argue that filibusters have been abused in recent years by both parties, by the Republicans when they were in the minority and now the Democrats in the minority. When the Democrats were last in the majority a couple of years ago, they did put some limits on the use of the filibuster. For example, they said that the filibuster could no longer be used against appointments by the president to his cabinet, his or her cabinet. So that means that when a president appoints someone to serve in government, as President Trump has done recently, the minority party cannot stop that person through the use of a filibuster. However, filibusters are still allowed for the moment on Supreme Court nominees, and that is something the Democrats may decide to use to stop the progress of President Trump's nominee to the Supreme Court. But generally, filibusters can be used on bills, and they are still used. A lot of times, the threat of a filibuster is enough to stop a bill from being considered, since the neither party has had filibuster-proof majorities in recent years. Again, there are arguments pro and con for filibusters, but I encourage you to read the chapter carefully on this topic before you answer the question. And as always, if you have any questions about the material, please email me. Have a great week. Thank you.